If you dropped an engineer off into the woods, a electrician off into the woods, some scientists off into the middle of the forest, the greatest thinking minds, a mechanic, some nerds, some geeks, maybe some woodsmen, some bushcraft people, and some dumb people, and regular thinking folks. Throw some NPCs in there, some organic portals, just regular human folks. And what will you get? Well, first of all, let's make sure none of these people have any tools of any type. No tools. None. No shovel, no lighter, no keys, just their hands and the clothes on their back. Let's act like this is a TV show. All you gonna get is a bunch of people scurrying around in the woods, trying to figure things out, right? But the media monster machine wants us to believe that we evolved out of the woods into these immaculate civilizations, right? And then along the way, they say that the Darwin theory happened, that evolution made us go from point A to point B to C to D and all that other shit. But you and I both know something missing here, like information. See, these are the thinking points that allow you to really see this reality for what it is. And a lot of people don't go down this route. Fuck all that extra difficult thinking pattern, guessing shit. If you threw all those people in the middle of a forest, the only people that'll be able to figure out anything is the ones who was practicing bushcraft. See, the bushcraft people, they would go find a stick. They'd go find a rock, a couple rocks, some sticks. They'll figure out how to make a fire. They'll get the fire going. The next thing they'll do, take some of them sticks and make pointy edges out of them. Several of them. And then they'll use some of them as weapons, and they'll try to use some of them as tools to dig holes in the ground. Hell, they'll take the sticks, they'll find twine if they can find twine, and they'll shape the rocks with other rocks so they can possibly make a form of a shovel out of a rock. See how I'm saying this stuff and you're imagining it as I'm saying it? That's because whether you are top level genius according to this society, or you the dumbest motherfucker in the world. The reason why I used all that as an example and threw all those people in the forest and brought up this example is because regardless of what you know and what you don't know, the shit that I said makes sense. Now, if we know that these people will be lost, then you can use that as a receipt to say, well, society's designed the same way. It was here before we got here and we was born into it. And all this stuff just gets inserted inside of the society. And we don't know where it comes from. It just gets inserted. Stuff just gets inserted. Boom. The new Kia coming out. It just gets inserted. Boom. Yeah, they like to show these factories and stuff of how you make it, kind of. But let's take all that away and go back to the basics. Now, you in the forest and you don't, you want to use modern stuff. I want to see that engineer, that electrician, some of them scientists create glass. Let's just make some glass, bottles, and let's make China. I mean, we know what it takes to make China. You got to find certain types of stones and gravel that you can ground up, right? And heat it up at a certain point. But we already know that the natives who live out there don't use stuff like glass in China. They already know what mud turns into clay and what clay can be heated up and turned into pottery. They know these things. So there's a missing link between the type of societies we live in with concrete, metal, and technology versus that natural shit, right? And somewhere between that missing link is how we all became enslaved as humans. The way that I choreographed that information about how the bush person would be able to do this and that, and how the natural people automatically know certain things. If we was makers of the societies that we live in right now currently, then we will automatically be able to conjure up the same thoughts as a human race on how to make glass, how to make metal, how to make plastic, create bricks, make, the stuff that's inside of houses and shit, plaster, carpet. We can't fathom these things if we was trapped out in the forest. See all these receipts that's just popping up? Humans is not making this shit. Right? Hell, if we fucking lose our key and get locked out our car, we fucked. We lose our key and get locked out our house, we fucked. We gotta break into it. If you gotta break into something, then that's not something we make. Because if we made it, we would just make a key right then and there. We wouldn't have to go to somebody else to help us make a key. And they got the tools. And the tools was inserted into society. Everything. This is the part that I'm trying to show you how this is a simulation. Yeah, we are made to think humans make this stuff. But what happens is it gets inserted into society first. Then they put humans as the individuals who's helping the robots, and the machines make it. But we want to go from point A to B. How do you go from a forest and people I just named, right, to a fucking factory? And all the little working parts that the factory has to be able to make stuff. I'm waiting. No answers, huh? So whenever you go down this route called the rabbit hole and you think about all these other things in society, always return to the 0 point. And the 0 point is we have our ancestral memory in us where we know how to figure out how to live in nature. But somewhere inside of us, our supernatural, higher, extraterrestrial ability has been removed. So then we can just be servants inside of the societies that was created for us. And that's why society is the way it is. It has nothing to do with the economy. That's just something that the individuals who created this shit use to sway us. So when they raise the prices of stuff, that's how they get more loose out of us. When they lower the price of stuff and make it affordable to live in this shit, that's how they put us to sleep and make us think, oh, everything go all good and fine. And then people start having more kids and trying to have families and live good. Whenever they raising the price of stuff, right, and making it hard to live and making sure that you can't afford it, that means that there's a depopulation thing going on. And whenever there's a depopulation thing going on, right, society has a lot of tension in it. And they insert all kinds of mechanical diseases. We already seen one of them play out that was inserted into the simulation portion of the Matrix. People be trying to figure out if UFOs and stuff is real. That is the dumbest shit. The dumbest psyop ever. And you know what I'm saying? You got all these narcissists that say, we made all this stuff. No. Fuck all that we shit. I want to see you go and make this stuff since we make it. Because if you can make it, I can make it. So what I'm trying to say here is, even though the bushcraft person had more practice and, more in tune with the shit, all them other people that got these so-called titles given to them by this artificial society, they would just have to watch the bushcraft person, and then it'll start to get it into their spirit and wake them up, some of them. And then they'll be able to tap into that innate ability that we all still have. Just like women know. Women just know this stuff. If you have sex with them and you nut into them, they know they're going to have a baby. Now, the way they naturally know that, we should naturally know how to make glass, metal, weapons, technology, mechanical things. All this different stuff that this society is comprised of, right? We shouldn't just know these things inside of us. We shouldn't have to get taught, trained, shown how to do it. We should just know how to do it. But here's the problem. The reason why we don't, before I even show you what I'm saying, you already kind of know. It's all been removed from us. That's how they know we only use 10% of our brain, because they made sure of it. Then they got us arguing with each other. Black people, white people. Gay people, straight people. Rich people, poor people. Smart people, dumb people. And then trying to figure out all this other stuff, when all we got to do is return to 0 point. Throw all the humans into a forest. That's our natural habitat when we were so-called de-evolved, or on our way to evolving. Right? Then we got to look at that and figure out how we got to this. Once you start to think about these things only, then you'll see the whole reality that we in make more sense, or fall apart, or how it's built. However your mind works, you will begin to see how it's all put together. And you know it's not by us. People say intelligence is what you need. You don't need intelligence, you need abilities. You need abilities. You don't need intelligence. You need abilities. And that's what the motherfuckers who's always winning in society over the others or enslaving the others have. Abilities. The ones with the abilities are the ones with the power. And the ones with the power get to have all the control. So, that's why I can't no other human groups be above the program, even though they allow people to have some powers and abilities, like Bruce Lee. But then he started to tell us stuff. And he was trying to show us how to activate and get to a point. So they had to take him out. Dr. Sebi, people like him, even though he probably was a psyop. He was getting us back on that ancestral shit, showing us, you know, what herbs and stuff do and how to use them and all that stuff. That's a superpower because now you don't got to rely on the hospitals. And if you know this stuff as a kid growing up, then you'll know what to eat, what not to eat, what kind of people to be around, what kind of people to stay the fuck away from. Then you'll live a healthy life. You won't be eating all this junk, processed, artificial sickness that we just can't get the fuck away from. There's this guy from Ohio who made a car that runs off of water. They took him out. That's a superpower. Why? Because if you know how to take their technology that's already here, that's inserted into this simulation, and you know how to remix it and turn it into something else to make it better for humanity, then that's kind of like a superpower, even though it really ain't. You just taking what they have. Because if they take away all their stuff, then you wouldn't be able to do it. So most of the people, like Nikola Tesla and these different individuals, they was trying to make stuff for humanity, by humanity, so we can live in harmony. They don't want to live in harmony. They want to live in duality, the ones that's running the show. They want everything to be chaotic, and then they want to act like they the saviors after they made it chaotic. They want you to believe there's an enemy and then there's a hero, so they can play hero after they became the enemy. They want everything to seem dark so they can bring the false light. Wherever you go to, any city across the world, and there's poverty, there's drugs happening, there's crime, there's always Catholic churches, right? And these Catholic churches provide a way out or help. They got food pantries and they help with the stuff around the neighborhood. Meanwhile, those same dark sorcerers help to put that place in the position that it's in. So then you go back to the same motherfucker that got you in the shit you in. But if we knew all the stuff that we supposed to know how to do, you would just get the fuck away from these motherfuckers. People preach about getting away from narcissists and all these different individuals, but we can't seem to get away from that main narcissist that's running this whole shit, that created all these and breeded all these other human beings to be who they are. That's some deep shit, ain't it? Just something to think about.